Yes, I mean, I'm at the other end, the rival protest, if you like, stand up for racism, and there are a couple of hundred people gathering here already. The protesters aren't expected or aren't planning to move off for another hour or so. So the numbers here are going to be rather smaller, and I think that will be the pattern as the day goes on. On previous demonstrations, Tommy Robinson's supporters have made a crowd of something like 25,000, perhaps a bit more. The police expectation, I understand today, is that there will be more than that. And as we're speaking, I mean, the weather's a good day for protests, so I imagine that the Unite the Kingdom protest will draw more than the 25,000 that have been seen on previous demonstrations. Yes, of course, the police are here in big numbers, not terribly overt at the moment, but as always, go down a side street and there are more police waiting in vans. Their mission today is to ensure that the rival protests are allowed to make their demonstrations. They are, of course, concerned at the possibility of disruption. So principally, they will try to keep the two rival groups apart. They've got dedicated different routes to Whitehall when they get there for speeches, and both groups have stages set up for speeches. One has been told to finish at 4 o'clock, the other one at 6 o'clock. But generally, when they get to Whitehall, the police will have a sterile area between the two protest groups, who will be marshalled at either end of Whitehall, a kind of no man's land, if you like. But at the moment, it's early days, and protesters from both sides are beginning to muster.
The protest was triggered by frustration over immigration. In recent years, the UK has seen record numbers of asylum seekers crossing the English Channel in small boats. Hotels housing migrants, pressure on councils, and rising headlines about crime linked to asylum seekers inflamed anger. Critics argue that the Labour government under Keir Starmer has failed to deliver on border control. For Robinson and his supporters, this was the breaking point. They say immigration is out of control, free speech is being stifled, and British culture is under threat. And so, Robinson organized the Unite the Kingdom march, a show of force meant to demand change. Reports estimate that more than 110,000 people joined the march, one of the largest anti-immigration demonstrations in modern UK history. Organized by Robinson, the protest filled central London with chants like, "We want our country back, we want our free speech back on track." Robinson told his supporters not to wear masks, not to drink, and not to provoke violence. Still, as counter-protesters gathered nearby, police were forced to step in, separating groups to prevent serious clashes. The protest carried three central themes: immigration, free speech, and national identity. Robinson himself declared, "Patriotism is the future, borders are the future." He urged his followers to see themselves as part of a tidal wave of patriotism sweeping across the country. But Robinson wasn't alone. The stage drew a range of controversial figures. Lawrence Fox, the former actor turned political activist, addressed the crowd. Katie Hopkins, a media personality, also gave a fiery speech. And in a surprising twist, Elon Musk appeared by video link, telling protesters that Britain needed change and even suggesting a dissolution of parliament. The rally also featured international guests: French right-wing politician Eric Zemmour, Danish populist leader Morten Messerschmidt, and German AfD politician Peter Bystron, turning what began as a British march into an international showcase of far-right voices. There was even a tribute to US activist Charlie Kirk, who had recently been assassinated, tying the protest to a global populist movement. Thousands of counter-protesters also gathered in London, determined to oppose Robinson's message. Groups like Stand Up to Racism organized a counter-demonstration called the March Against Fascism. Their national organizer, Samira Ali, said the country must reject hate and stand for diversity. Prominent MPs, including Diane Abbott and Zara Sultana, joined the counter-rally, warning that Robinson's movement was dangerous and divisive. Police kept the groups apart, but not without tension. Objects were thrown, scuffles broke out, and several arrests were made. This protest didn't come out of nowhere. Immigration has dominated Britain's politics for years. Prime Minister Keir Starmer's Labour government is under pressure to tighten asylum laws. At the same time, Nigel Farage and his Reform UK party are rising in popularity, demanding stricter border enforcement. Robinson's protest, while not tied to a political party, taps into that same anger. It channels frustration from people who believe elites have lost control of borders, and that their voices are ignored. On one hand, the size of this march proves that anti-immigration sentiment is no longer confined to the fringes, it is mainstream. Robinson's ability to mobilize over 100,000 people, with the support of figures like Lawrence Fox, Katie Hopkins, and even Elon Musk's endorsement, sends a message that cannot be dismissed. On the other hand, the strong counter-protest shows Britain is equally committed to resisting these ideas. For every flag-waving marcher demanding crackdowns, there are activists chanting for tolerance and unity. This struggle over immigration and identity may shape not just the next election, but Britain's social fabric for decades. The Unite the Kingdom march was arranged and led by Tommy Robinson, but it drew in a wide cast of voices, from right-wing politicians abroad to British celebrities and online influencers. Opposed fiercely by anti-racism campaigners and MPs, the event showed a nation at a crossroads. Divided between fear and hope, exclusion and inclusion, Britain now faces a fundamental question: what kind of country does it want to be? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel for more in-depth political commentary, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next deep dive into the world of power and politics. Thanks for watching.